Hello everyone, Reggie Time here with Simon into extra time. We've got 4 more hands to go through. It took us over an hour to get through 4 last time, so probably stick a brew on and fucking settle down because we're going to be an hour again, I would imagine, because we tend not to rush these things, do we, Simon?
No, definitely not.
Okay, we've got a under the gun open from someone who should be tagged orange. So give me your thoughts immediately.
3 bet here. 3 bet to about 7.5.
Right, I'm going to say something to you now, and I want you to think about your answer. If if we'd opened here and this guy had 4 bet, what would you do?
Still think I'm getting this canned in.
Yeah, but it's close to the reason I'm asking that. Excuse me, I've got a sneeze coming.
Bless you.
It didn't come in the end, and that's really frustrating. The reason I'm asking is look at this guy's race first in stats:
Yeah,
6% under the gun,
yeah,
2% middle position.
yeah, yeah.
I can
His
honestly,
range is kings and aces. Yeah,
I can honestly make a case for just flatting here. I can make a very strong case for just fucking flatting.
in my defence, my stat on this guy may be very
No,
different in terms
and
of the amount of
I'm
hands.
not slagging you for a second, mate, because 3 bet's standard play. It's the
Yeah,
best. It's a standard play, pure. But this, look at the fucking
I
state
know,
of him.
I know, I know.
I can genuinely make a strong case for flying here.
Yeah,
Because what is this guy gonna? What is this guy's range look like? It's just fucking nuclear strength strong.
yeah,
And I 3 bet this hand and he 4 bets. I'm dead. We
yeah,
are literally fucking dead. If
yeah,
he opened to 6% range and then 4 bets us, Ace King isn't worth shit.
yeah,
So I don't want to 3 bet this hand because I think this guy's going to maybe he's going to call, but his calling range is going to be fucking. If we trust these numbers, his calling range is going to be jacks and queens probably.
hmm,
Um, Maybe tens. Maybe these numbers are off a little bit, but he's had like 47 opportunities to raise under the gun. Um, He's had 43 opportunities to raise middle position. He's took one of them. The guy is an enormous, absolutely enormous nit. I
yes.
don't want to 3 bet an enormous nit with Ace King personally. I don't want to do it.
No,
But you've done
yeah,
it because you would have had them stats. And maybe even if you did have them stats, maybe you still think Ace King's strong enough. And I'd imagine that 95% of poker regs here are just going to 3 bet this hand, regardless of the information that we're seeing there. I'm one of the few ones that would be like, you know what, I'm not 3 betting this hand. Um, he does call up, and we get a very nice flop. The problem is, I imagine this guy's just going to check fold a lot, in theory. Not in theory, sorry. I imagine if he's got a hand like queens here and jacks, like expecting to have a lot, I imagine this goes check, bet, fold a lot. But we'll see. He checks.
yeah. I like that here. Standard, probably third pot. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm
I
likely
don't think you can go far wrong with
to
third
do.
pot here. I
Yeah,
think like maybe there's a better size, but as a simplification, I think just going third here is completely fine. Uh, you went half.
hmm,
Again, I have no issue with that. I think just betting, you know, 1/3, 50, half. Who really fucking cares? There's gonna be like merits and pros and cons to both. So I don't really give a shit to be honest. Um, he oh oh. So the guy with the 6% pre-flop raise has called a 3 bet and decided he could check raise on ace 10-7.
mm,
That's interesting because this doesn't make any fucking. He literally is repping one hand here, pocket tens. It's
yeah,
the only hand he's fucking repping. But I think these players are bad enough to have ace queen suited in range here. And there's way more combinations of ace queen. Well, not suited. In fact, there isn't ace queen suited. There's 2 combos. There's actually more combos of tens, but maybe ace queen off 2.
yeah,
Yeah. In fact, what I'm trying to say is, even though these guys are fucking nit, and this is absolutely terrifying. It's just so hard for us to be beat here. There's no way I'm folding.
No, I agree.
But I'm sure as shit not 3-betting either.
No, I'm pretty convinced I'll just call this. Yeah.
That that card fills me with joy. It absolutely fills me with joy, even though it shouldn't really change anything. Why it fills me with joy is it means I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Like if this turn was like a brick and he went all in, I might be like, fuck me, he's just got sets of sevens and sets of tens, hasn't he? And I could convince myself I need to fold. But once the king comes, I'm like, well, I just can't fold this hand now anyway.
I'm
If he
not.
has got a set.
I'm not convinced he's opening sevens.
Neither am I. But he's
Tens, I
check.
can see him opening, but I don't think he's opening
No,
sevens.
I don't think he is either. But he's fucking check raised the flop. I mean, maybe he's got the same hand. Maybe he's just got fucking ace king too.
Hmm.
That's a definite possibility. He now checks, which is just fucking weird.
Yeah, I think I'm all in.
Uh,
Maybe that's terrible, but I just think I'll put it in here. But I don't know.
because I'm not remotely worried about him having any draws whatsoever. I think I'm just going to, as a huge like exploit here. I'm just going to like bet really small. We can bet say 15 bigs here. He's going to call, put 95 bigs in. It'll leave us with a half pot for the river.
Yeah.
So I think I just want to. I'm willing to try and get this over 2 streets and like give him less chance to fold. It's like 15, 16 bigs, something like that. Then leave half pot. And maybe you could just go like 1/3. He calls, so we've got 20. He calls, that puts 180 in and leaves half pot behind you. Maybe anything like that. 15, 20, 21. Just something that like leaves us with like a smaller of a bet. I guess if we're really fucking lucky, he can have ace 10 of spades if we're really lucky. But again, these numbers tell us he doesn't have them. But you know, who fucking knows? You did just go for the lot. I have no issue with that. He does call, and he did have the one of
Yeah.
the few combos of ace queen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I just felt with the raise on the flop, I just felt that that if I'm beat, I'm beat, but I'm just sticking it in here.
yeah.
And
And
well, the reason that's in there is I just don't know if that's good or not. Whether it's better to just do what you said, or it's going in whatever happens.
yeah, I would have just gone because when he check raise checks, I think right, okay, he's not top of range anymore. He's not check raise checker in a set of 10, check raise checker in a set of 10s, for example. He's just not fucking doing that.
No.
So I think we've got the nuts and our hands almost invincible against this player because he just shouldn't really have flush draws in range on this turn.
It's interesting with that hand, isn't it? Do
It's
you not think
fucking it's bad. It's flat out bad.
I just think it's awful, really.
Well, we'll have a look. I mean, in my opinion, his raise is flat out fucking terrible. But we'll see. We'll see if it is. I don't think you're getting told off here, by the way. I think you're going to get. I not think we might not be in 2-tick territory the whole way
No.
because I'm not convinced turn to jam, but we might be in. Oh fucking hell! We have an inaccuracy, Squire.
You're not recording. Oh, you are. You are.
I am recording. We have an inaccuracy, and I suspect
It's going to be my jam.
it's going to be the jam. Yeah, I think maybe it's going to want some checking back. Maybe it doesn't feel like it should, but it's a turn where we fucked it somehow. Flop, check. Yeah, again, it's like
So it favours the third bet, doesn't it?
yeah, massively favours the third bet.
Yeah.
Massively favours it. Again, I'm not that asked about sizes. You know, if I bet a hand that shouldn't be betting, that's when I'm like, right, okay, let's have a think here, Reg. If it's just a sizing error, I couldn't really care fucking less, to be honest. Bet he raises. Right, wants us to fucking just 3-bet immediately.
Yeah.
Would you guess?
It's 50-50, isn't it? But
So what's he raising here then? Because I don't like the idea of 3-betting here. So what's he raising that we can 3-bet against? In theory. Because maybe he's raising. We both thought his check raise was terrible. Maybe it fucking isn't. If it's wanting us to jam against it. So flop, check, raise. So what's he meant to be raising here? Which size was it he's used here? This one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's that one. 20. Yeah, 26.
So he's meant to be raising King 10 here. Nah,
Yeah.
no, he's not. Meant to be raising Jack 10. No, he's not. Meant to be raising King Jack. No, he's not. Meant to be raising Ace 4, Ace 5. This cunt doesn't even have them. Meant to be raising 7, 6. So I'm not sure why he wants to jam against this range. I mean, 9, 8. This guy doesn't have. I don't know why it's wanting to like 3-bet against this range. I don't get it. So it wants us to 3-bet. What does it want us to 3-bet to? 50. It wants us to do this. Hang on. He's putting a raise in. He's wanting us to do this. For what reason? Because Villain's going to jam Ace 10, which we're beat by. Oh, Villain's going to jam 9, 8, Ace King. I don't get why he wants us to fucking... I don't understand. I do not understand.
I'm not sure on that one myself.
It's obviously wanting to bet call off against this range, isn't it? Because obviously it's not raising and folding. When Villain goes all in here, I guess we're never folding. No, we're just calling all our ace kings. I don't get it. So I really don't get why it's wanting to like 3-bet against like this range, the all-in. I don't get it. I just don't fucking get it, Simon. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
No.
I just don't get it, and it's such a rare thing. I can't be able to fucking study it properly. But against this guy, I think
obviously he's got the back door straight there, isn't he? With the queen. No, he isn't. I'm talking shit.
No, he's got the back door flush.
Yeah.
What I wanted to check was like, what's he meant to do with his ace queen of diamonds here? Ace queen suited in diamonds. Just virtually pure call, 94%. So we're right. Excuse me. His flop raise is fucking atrocious. Turn, it just wanted the milker.
Yeah.
It wanted the milker.
Which I can understand that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm not surprised it wanted the milker either, because we've kind of got the board locked up, and we're not folding anyway. If he's got a set of 10s or a set of 7s, we're going broke anyway.
Yeah.
He shouldn't really have any like flush draws or straight draws here. It's not like he's got some random jack. He's got ace jack. We don't really care about that ace queen occasionally, but we know he's not raising them on the flop. So his flop raising range, he is basically ace 10, which we're ahead of, behind to pocket 10s, or behind to pocket 7s. So I guess it's just basically saying, I don't really give a fuck what the river is. I haven't really got that much to protect against, so I just get to bet small, which is kind of how I thought. And maybe that's not why it's doing it. Maybe just coincidence. It likes the milker and I do, and maybe I'm now thinking it's doing it for the same reasons I'm doing it, and maybe it isn't doing it for the same reasons. And if it's not, then I haven't learned anything. But yeah,
maybe just thinks it doesn't call a jam here. We miss value, but
yeah, I wonder like. I'm looking to this so. Turn was a king of clubs, wasn't it? So it went check, it went raise, and we went call. Turn was a king of clubs. Under the gun checks. It wants us to go milky, but we're going to do the all in. And
it's the ace queen suit.
It thinks it's folding the ace queen.
Yeah, that's why then.
Yeah, and it thinks it's folding the ace jack. And I don't think they are. Well, we know they're not, because it didn't fucking happen. So yeah, happy days. Next, Jack 10 suited. We open. Call from a type-ish. Call from a... This reg probably deserves to be... No, it doesn't. I was about to make him yellow, but I'm looking at his raise first in bone, 21%, and I can't give yellows for that. I
No.
just can't do it. I cannot give yellows for that. God, but we're not, okay, we can't review this one in GTO, but we can do our best to take a look at ourselves. Check. Very interesting.
Mm.
Very interesting.
Plenty of equity.
We hope.
We hope.
See, I think like I don't want to. I think we're going to get away with a check here because this guy's passive on the flop, only 30% bet flop frequency.
I don't think I'm ever betting here, really, because well, sorry, that's not the right thing to say, but multi-way like this, I think a check's fine here because we don't really want to be raised off this, do we?
1 second, fella. Some cunt just knocked at my door.
No problems.
Hold that thought. So yeah, you were saying you would never.
Well, I'm not. I'm not. Maybe not never. Never's possibly a too strong a word, but I don't. I just. You've got three players there. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like it.
No, neither am I. I don't know. I think like a lot of the reason we want to check here is because it's not good when we get raised. If we're never getting raised here, and if we like ran a super solver and we had villains like raise percentage here of like maybe 6%, 7%, something like that, I think it would favour betting more. So the reason I'm thinking about betting is how often do I think I'm getting to get raised here? If I'm not getting raised, I don't mind having a little bet
Mm-hmm.
because we get to build the pot when we hit. We get some fold equity against because it looks pretty strong, so we are going to get some decent fold equity from hands that have us beat for certain. We bet here if we only bet say even just say 40% pot here, there's going to be an awful lot of hands that are better than Jack 10 that are going to fold. King Queen off's going to fold. King Jack off's going to fold. King 10 off's going to fold. Queen 10 off's going to. Now a lot of these hands are just going to fucking. I think we have a lot of fold equity here. The only issue is that we don't want to bet because if we get raised, even though we have a pretty easy call and we get raised,
Yeah.
getting raised is still a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
But I actually don't mind betting here. I'm looking at this guy. This guy's got a bit of raise in him, but it's a multi-way pot. I think he's going to have a lot less raise in him. This guy doesn't have a lot of raise in him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Check raise flop 0 from 4. Generally speaking, how often is he raising flops? 2-bet flop where he hasn't had a chance to 2-bet flop. Oh no, 1 from 9 flop 2-bet. I fucking hate that term 2-bet, but just getting into it now. This guy's got 16% flop 2-bet. So if we're going to get raised, it's going to be from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't hate just like whacking a 40% route here. Quite often, well, that's going to get us some useful fold equity now. And if we don't get raised, it's almost certainly going to allow us to see 2 cards. We get to bet 40% here. We don't get raised. We just get to decide on the turn whether we bet again or not.
Okay. Yeah. No.
So I think, even though where I totally get behind the reasons for not betting, I don't hate the thought of just betting 40% here because I think we've got a lot of pretty useful fold equity, and so long as this guy doesn't call, we're usually going to be able to just get to see the turn and the river for our 4 big blinds.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to, or sometimes we can just absolutely nail a 9 of clubs on the turn, and then we get to start making some lovely juicy value bets.
Yeah.
So I think I like bet here, but I totally get why you checked.
Mm-hmm.
Checks through turn 3. I get this guy probing. He turn probe stat 1 out of 2. It's probably going to be this hand. It's completely useless stat over this sample size. Fold. We just have the easiest call ever. Nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Other than call. Oh. Oh man. Oh man. How do we get 217 blinds into this pot? Because that's immediate. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
I want the fucking lot here somehow. Which I don't. I think it's going to be really, really, really hard. So before we see any action, my instincts here are: if he bets, make a fucking enormous raise.
Yeah.
If he checks, then overbet. They're my two thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, I like
Um, he bets half pot. So what do we think his range for betting half pot is going to be here? What do we think his worst value hand is? This is the best way to look at this, I think.
that. Some sort of ace, I think, possibly, an eight. Not sure.
No, I don't think he's betting an eight. I don't think is for value here. He's not betting worse than an ace.
No.
No, there's 0% chance he's betting worse than an ace for value. He might be like some randomly bluffing with like a 7 or an 8. It's just like fuck it. I'm just going to continue like randomly bluffing. It doesn't make sense to probe the turn with that. But people just do weird shit sometimes, don't they? But on
Yeah.
balance here, I think he's just going to have ace X as the weakest hand. He's going to have how many two pairs from the small blind? Probably not many. He's a reg, and maybe he has a few more pairs in the small blind because button's flatted. Maybe he just cold calls small pairs in the blinds anyway because that's a thing we're allowed to do these days at certain frequencies. For me, that frequency being close to 100%. For others, maybe less than that. I think he's just going to have like some sets too. Sets of sevens that he was check up, sets of eights. He can maybe have some two pairs, although that seems very unlikely.
Mm.
I just think he's going to be probably, if I had to guess his hand here, I would, using this size, would he go bigger with a set?
I think possibly does.
Does he have a hand like ace 10?
Yeah, I mean, is he not three betting that out of the small blind?
Let's see. Oh, let's see if we can have a guess at it. Squeeze he's only squeezed 1 from 15 so far. Pre-flop he is calling 2 bets from the small blind, 0 from 13. So I think his range is going to be like pretty narrow. He's not going to have 7-8, for example. You wouldn't imagine. He's not going to have 8-9. He could have pocket threes.
Yeah.
He could have pocket sevens, pocket eights, and then maybe some like ace jack. So I think his range is going to be pretty condensed and generally like ace jack or better. And the reason I'm asking all those questions is how big can I fucking raise here?
Yeah, I think this was a problem I had in game, is about how big can I go here, because I don't know if I go big enough, because I just think he's going to fold an awful lot of stuff.
I think I like to go because I know we're not supposed to weigh our value drives our bluff sizes, but if I wanted to if I did want to bluff here, I'd want to bluff big, because when I'm raising this river, I'm basically saying I've got a straight or I've got a set.
Mm-hmm.
As played, we could have turned a set of threes, for example. As played, we could have checked a set of sevens or eights on the flop. We probably don't have a set of nines, because we quite likely fold nines quite often on the turn. So I'm saying here on this river, I've got a set of threes, a set of sevens, a set of eights, and I've got jack 10. All of those want to take the fucking lid off it here.
Yeah.
But would I then want to use, to say we'd bricked here and say the river wasn't a 9? Say we just got a complete brick. I think I like 80. 80 is the name that 80 number that was coming into my head. I think all in's too greedy. I think he just overfolds versus all in with his. I think if we go all in here, I think he happily folds pocket sevens, for example.
Yeah. I don't think I make it 80.
I'd be going in the 82. So I just looked at the pot size, 37. Put our call in, that's 50, and then maybe 75, because I was thinking 150% pot. So maybe 75 to 80, because I would want to overbet here. So maybe my calculations are a bit up. But what I normally do is I add my call to the pot size. So
Yeah.
I've got to call 13 here, so that's 50, and then I want to make it 75 on top. So actually, yeah, I'd want to put my call in 13, then I'd want to make it 75 on top. So actually, I'd want to make this 75 plus 13, 88 is what I would want to make this.
Yeah, I think I blunder here.
Oh, that's small, sir.
Yeah.
That is too small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think in game, I'm thinking, yeah, what's going to call me here? And like I say, pocket seven is going to call that, isn't it? And I don't
Oh,
know.
pocket sevens is snappy. Pocket sevens here because you three bet is like it's hating life, but it's never folding. But I'm trying to think would pocket sevens ever three bet here, and they wouldn't. I don't think a set's three bet. Once we raise this river, I think all sets are just calling,
Yeah,
which is why I think we need to go bigger. We don't. This size is maybe could be used at this depth to try and induce some fucking crazy bluffs.
mm-hmm.
But I think we've established. Oh,
No, it's all right, mate. It's fine.
I think we've established that Villain probably doesn't have any bluffs here that would then three. And if he did have any bluffs, he's probably not going to have any that want to three bet. What would his three bet bluffs be here? He'd need to have some kind of like 10 or jack in his hand, like with our straight blockers, to probably want a three bet bluff. And we've got a jack and a 10 in our hand. So, and because he'd have to have like jack 10 suited or maybe turn a hand like 10-9 suited into a bluff. Not many combos. Maybe he'd turn queen 10 suited into a bluff that might take this line, although I doubt it. Yeah, I just don't. I think he's just going to be so value heavy here. I don't think this race is going to induce any bluffs whatsoever, or very few. Which is the only thing you can say for it is it might induce some bluffs, but I just don't think. I don't think the villain's range has many bluffs in to begin with, and then I don't think population are going to have many three bet bluffs here at all.
No.
I think it's fucking fantasy land to think they do. So yeah, just go bigger. I think. He does
Yeah,
call.
I'll probably obviously miss value here.
Yeah. Would he have called my 88 big blind bet? Maybe not. Um, but like I say, it's not that hard for us to rep some bluffs. Say we check back flop, we just called turn. It wouldn't be beyond. It wouldn't be like outrageous for him to just say, right, this guy's just got too many missed flush draws in range. And ace three is too strong to fold. I
Yeah,
would, I could see that narrative. I could see this like being if we put this hand in a forum from villain's perspective, and we raised the river to 80 bigs. I could see a lot of people saying, "Well, hearts have missed. You've
yeah,
got two pair. Call."
yeah.
I could see that being the general narrative
So we
amongst the
potentially missed
Manchester
out on 40
population.
big blinds here then.
Potentially, yeah.
Mm.
Who knows what
So
is like, what
this
his
was
limit is.
the reason it's here is that I was really conflicted about what size to raise to, and I just felt that it felt that if I went too much bigger, we're going to get a lot of folds. Um, so I just wasn't really sure where to go with this one.
Yeah, I really wouldn't worry about that getting too many folds.
Yeah,
We've got a big hand, you know, just make a big bet, and that's how I like to calculate these things. Like put your call in the pot, because if this say he checked here, I'd want to over bet 150% pot. So
yeah.
if I have my call in, the pot now stands at 50 bigs. What is 150% of 50? 75. So it's 75 plus 13, 88. That's my fucking size. I might be butchering the maths a little bit there, but that's how I do things in my house. And
No,
that's how I would have come to that size.
yeah, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I think you're right. Hearts have missed. It's yeah, just cool. And I think you're probably right. They'll probably have missed out a bit of value.
Maybe, but no big deal. Because maybe you bet that too big, maybe you just don't massively overfolds. But I'm not worried. When I got the nuts, I'm never that worried about people overfolding
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think people do. So if people get to rivers and there's been some filtering going on before the river, I think people call a disproportionately high amount of the time.
Yeah.
Ace Queen, is this the last one? Have we done? No, it's not. I thought we were rushing through. We're thrashing through these, but no, we got one more after this. Open Ace Queen, get a miserable flop. What are you thinking?
I'm checking here.
Yeah, I like check two. I like check two on this board.
Yeah.
I guess you could make a case for we don't get raised enough, so we can just block bet in position. Block bet and set our own price because we can't check fold the hand either because of the backdoor diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
So you could maybe make a case for as a direct exploit of population not raising enough in these spots that we can just bet 1/3 here.
Yeah.
Because if we're not check folding anyway, then why not just try and set our own price? So I think as a big exploit of population not raising enough, I wouldn't hate just bet 1/3 here to try and like set our own price. And sometimes they're just going to fold too. Maybe we get folds here 25% of the time. So maybe the bet just makes money versus population in general. So yeah, I think the theory play is check. I think as an exploit, I wouldn't hate because we got like the 2 overs and the backdoor flush draw. I wouldn't hate like bet folding 1/3 pot here.
Yeah.
Check because now we're facing this, and now it's really fucking annoying. If we
Yeah.
bet 1/3 and he makes it 8 as a raise, we just have an easy fold back. Oh, cheers, mate. Thanks a lot. Because when he raises here, his range is very different to a range here. Because if we say we bet 1/3 here and he's got pocket tens, he's probably not raising. But now we've checked, he might be the sort of player who's like, fuck, I've just got one pip over top pair. This board's scary, so I'm going to bet big. Whereas when we check, whereas when we bet 1/3, maybe he doesn't raise the same range of hands that bet 90% pot. Does that makes sense to me? Does that make sense to you on like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a like
Yeah.
logical
No, it
level?
does. Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from there.
Like he might have flatted tens or jacks here pre-flop, and he might not raise when we bet 1/3. But when we check, he might always just bet big with them, which is why I think as an exploit I like 1/3 because I don't think population raise enough. As played here now, I actually think this is very close to a fold.
Hmm. Yeah,
Maybe it's just a
I
fold.
agree. I think I was borderline here, but I think I called with the backdoor flush and the 2 overs. Yeah, I'm not in love with the call, but
No,
I don't think I think you can go either way with it.
I think theory here is going to call nearly all the time.
Yeah.
I think in practice, population here are not finding many bluffs here with this sizing on this board. That's my issue. I think, like in theory, this probably just calls. I think in practice, I think it's much closer.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to be interested when we look at this one is, and that's even if it allows us to do it. It depends if it allows fucking cut off flats or not. Is like how close to zero EV is calling, and if calling is close to zero EV, I actually think in real terms it pushes it into fold territory.
Yeah.
We do turn a queen though, which is pretty nice. I guess we're just going to check. Villain bets big again. Fucking hell, this is brutal.
I think I fold. I know it sounds stupid, but I just don't know what he's doing this with. Um, but then I think that could also be equally terrible because I just, you know, like you say, he could be doing this with pocket tens.
No, no. I thought floppy could be.
Yeah.
I don't think he's betting pocket tens with this size now.
I think I fold this, and I think that felt the right thing to do at the time, and I still think it is now possibly. But
Yeah, because I'd expect this if he was like betting pocket tens on the flop, maybe even pocket jacks for big size. I would not expect him to bet this size on the turn. I'd expect him to check a lot or just size down.
yeah, I mean, I might call this actually. I could be wrong here. I might call this.
I mean, he's saying he's got a set or he's got a straight.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying, or
yeah,
two pairs. He's saying basically this that the value hands that bet this size have ace queen fucking annihilated,
yeah,
and like it's really hard to see where his bluffs are coming from on this board.
yeah. And I think, yeah, I think I do actually call here, and I think
Yeah,
I know this is wrong.
I think this is a mistake. I think this
Yeah,
should be a fold. We do call number 10. We obviously check,
and
and now it's just the easiest one.
yeah,
Although it just makes even less sense now because like now he's saying he's literally only got straight.
mm,
Because why? I get why you'd bet a set big on the flop and why you'd bet two pair big on the flop. I get why you'd bet a set big on the turn and why maybe he'd still want to bet his like 7-6 is quite big because the queen doesn't really change enough for to like improve our range past two pairs. But then why does he want to bet this fucking big on the river?
mm,
Because now he's saying he's got king jack,
yeah,
and he wasn't saying he had king jack earlier.
No, we got nothing to go on.
Oh man,
Just pause the video a minute, mate. I'll just have a look at who the villain is. If I can.
all right, okay. Right, so this player is called DaveRave OB, which I'm gonna assume the OB means overbet, even if it fucking doesn't. Uh, I don't think I can fold this to someone called DaveRave OB. The line isn't making sense. You know, if he's still betting a set of nines here for this size, then fucking hats off to him. He's gone from saying I've got a straight, a set, or two pair, to on the turn saying, yeah, I've still got like some two pair in a straight of like 10-8 straight, to the river saying, oh, I've got King Jack, mate. All of a sudden, look at me with my King Jack. The story isn't making sense, mate.
Do
But
we ever call here? Do we
well,
ever call
this is a
here?
problem, right? If he's like still value betting 7-6 for this size, my desire to call is fucking outrageous. It's outrageously terrible. But I don't think he has 7-6 anymore.
No, I mean,
Um,
yeah, I'm pretty certain I'm folding here, but
but
the
is he?
line makes.
But is he repping a set anymore though? Like, what does he do if he's got pocket sixes? Is he really fucking ramming this river for like 44 bigs for full pot with pocket sixes? I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he's just that bad. He's just like, yeah, I don't care. Maybe it's good because you just don't have strong hands here. You have a lot of bluff catchers, so maybe it's good to just fucking say, you know what, fuck you. I shouldn't use this size with my set of sixes, but I'm gonna do it anyway
Yeah,
because absolute morons like Reggie Time might call me with Ace Queen. You know,
because of my name.
uh, because of my name's DaveRave OB. You know, and Reggie Tan doesn't like folding to DaveRave OB, who takes lines that make no sense. And I think probably you've made a good fold here, but it's a very confusing hand because
Yeah,
villain's making no sense. His line is not, it's not joined up.
I think the solver's probably going to call the turn like I did. Like that. If, but definitely, I just can't call this pot size.
I'm just interested to see like what his lines, what he's meant to get to the river with in this line. I
Yeah,
don't think Solver's going to have this line. That Solver isn't going to have Dave Rave OB's line in its locker. I don't think. But
no,
maybe it has. Maybe it has. We'll see. So we're going to hope this doesn't come back as non-existing GTO spot, which it might do because he's cold called the cutoff. Yeah, it has. That's very unfortunate. But is it because he's cold called the cut? Is it not? Yeah, it's just basically the whole thing's non-existent, isn't it? After he calls, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, sorry, mate. We can't do it.
no,
We can't do it because it's not allowing cut-off calls.
yeah.
Sadly.
Fair enough.
On to the last one. Reg opens button. This guy. Oh, he's only got the 6% 3-bet though, so no, he doesn't qualify for yellow. We 3-bet the ace 10 off, which I believe is GTO approved, even though it's not in my playbook personally, very often.
Okay.
Oh, another one we can't do in GTO.
That's a shame.
Flop top pair. Away we go, sir.
Yeah, I think we need to be betting here. I don't like the cold call, obviously, but we got top pair, top kicker. We got to have a bet here.
I like bet two. What size?
I think third to a half, maybe. I think either of those is probably okay.
I think I'd prefer a little bit bigger. I think I'm concerned that he's got jacks and queens in range because we don't know who villain is. We don't know anything about him on my stats. But you know, he's probably also got. If he's the sort of player who cold calls 3-bets, he's going to have all pocket pairs that set mine in. He's going to have Broadways, 2 Broadway cards. I think we just want to bet quite big. I personally, if I was betting here, I would be using a larger size. Let's see what you did. You went with 1/3, which I guess lots of people would do. I would just prefer larger personally. But calls, turn should be a really good card for us. In terms of like, he shouldn't improve villain's range at all. Like, what 7x does he have that cold calls? Pocket sevens, 7-6 suited, 7-8 suited. That's literally, and I don't think the 7-6 and 7-8 are there.
No,
But we even if we put them in, it doesn't really change that much in terms of his range. So now what are you thinking?
I still think we bet again. I think we bet
I agree.
what we bet. I'm concerned. I'm going to check, but
You do check. So why do you think you haven't bet again here?
I'm not sure because right now I would be betting this again here. And if we get raised, I'm probably folding because he, like you say, he probably does have jacks and queens.
Maybe we don't bet though because we fold out too many hands we beat.
Mm,
So maybe we don't bet. But if we don't bet, then we can't fold.
mm,
I think that's how I see this. Maybe
yeah,
we don't bet because like pocket sixes probably just falls to the double barrel. Pocket
yeah,
eights probably just falls to the double barrel. So maybe we can't barrel here because it's just too thin. But so I don't think I hate the check actually because I think double barreling here is probably very very thin.
mm,
We literally the worst time we're gonna have here is this for value. You'd
mhm,
imagine. A
yeah,
king or maybe no, we have king 10, queen 10, jack 10 suited too. But like 10x, we have like a lot of like aces, kings, queens. We have pocket tens exactly. Um, yeah, maybe this is just too thin. He
yeah,
bets our pot. I think we have a really easy decision at this point.
yeah. I think I'm going to make a blunder here.
You're going to fold, aren't you?
I think I'm going to fold. Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm folding here.
No, I think it's. I
It's
think
too easy for someone who cold call pocket eights to be like, oh, he's got ace king after all, is he? I'm going to
mm,
bet my ace to protect. We beat hands that he's betting for quote unquote protection.
yeah.
So I don't think we get to fold.
No, but I think I do, and I think again, I think that's really poor
Yeah, I
from.
think that's. I think at this point we just have to call and then call down.
Yeah, I
I
just like
expect a
that
lot of the
cold
time
call.
this goes like. Go on, mate.
Yeah,
Sorry.
how many people are cold calling eights there? I suppose people are, aren't they?
Well, the ones that are. That's the thing. Not
Yeah,
many. Most players don't have a cold call range in that spot. But the
yeah,
ones that do are probably doing it with exactly the types of hands we mentioned, which is
yeah,
why it's going to be no good to solve this, because solver would not have deuces, threes, fours, fives, sixes, sevens, eights, nines, tens, jacks in range there. It wouldn't have it. Whereas these players do. Solver wouldn't have ace queen suited, king queen suited, ace jack suited in range. These players do. Solver wouldn't have ace king in range. This player maybe does. And that's why like Solver's going to be no use. Even if we could run this, it'd be no use because it wouldn't have the hands in that I think these players have when they do it.
yeah,
So I think we're just on our own in this spot. We can't use game theory, and we can't like lean back on what we think we know about game theory. It just needs to be right. We presume population who has cold calls here has a lot of pocket pairs to set man in cold call range, and then pretty broadways that aren't strong enough to four bet.
yeah.
That's the range pretty
I
much.
don't. I really don't like that fold.
No, I
Having
think I think this is really
reviewing
quite
it back,
bad.
really don't like that fold.
I mean, if he's just got a better hand, if he's just got jacks, then tough shit. You just
Yeah,
fucking lose your money. Just lose your money. But I think it's too often here. He's just going to take a hand like pocket sixes, pocket eights, and be like, right, okay, well I put him on ace king. He only bet one third flop, so I'm still putting him on ace king, and now he's checked, so he's definitely got ace king, and I don't want to deal with an ace or a king, so I'm going to bet.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's a narrative going through their head a lot, which is why I think we can't fold here. And I don't think it's like it's not a fist pump call, not by any stretch, because he maybe has jacks and queens in range. So it's not a fist pump. It's far from a fist pump. But for half pot, I think folding here, and I play these games trying to overfold where possible. I think here it's too much of an overfold because of the how much like underpairs they have that are like thinking they're protecting against ace king, ace queen, etc.
yeah. No, I think that's pretty poor from me. That.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But we can't review it in GTO, so we'll never know for certain, fella. It's just as we were talking about before the video started about football and VAR and how it's really fucking shit. Because a lot of the stuff it's doing is opinion based, it's not subjective, it's objective. This is one of those spots we can't check it, so never mind. I personally think it's a mistake to fold this turn, but maybe if it is a mistake, maybe it's only a very small one.
Hmm.
because I think population aren't bluffing here. So it's like, do we beat his? When he bets eight, he actually thinks like the players who are bad enough to bet eights here and bet nines here and bet sixes here, they're doing it. They're not doing it for value. They're not thinking, oh, I think Ace King will call if I bet this size. They're doing it to end the hand. They're bad, and it's like I don't want to see an overcard, so I'm betting now, and I'm going to hope he fucks off.
Yeah.
And like that's I don't know what that is. Is it a value? It's not a value bet. It's not a bluff. I don't know what it is, but that's what's going on here, and that's the bit that's hard to quantify, because like we don't beat value here when he's betting,
No.
but unless they think they're value betting nines, then we do beat value, and I think bluffs are pretty hard to come by because there just aren't many draws out there. 8-9's probably not flying pre, so the only bluffs really available now are stuff like King Jack of Spades, Queen Jack of Spades, Ace Jack of Spades that didn't four bet. So there's not many bluffs readily available. So he needs to be like quote unquote turning a pocket pair into a bluff. And
Yeah.
it just gets weird.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I think the people who have these flats in the first place are probably doing that quite frequently because they're just like so easy to put you on Ace King here, and then it's so easy for their overwhelming desire to protect their hand to overwhelm them and force them to make a bad bet.
Yeah. I don't like the fold. Just reviewing it back, but in game, I can see why I've done it.
Yeah,
But
but you're never going to get me criticising anyone for overfolding in these games. But this is an overfold. But
yeah.
again, if your biggest leak in 25 on a snap is overfolding, then you're going to be doing just fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of all the hands. Thank you very much for that. I very much appreciated it. We'll say goodbye to the 3 viewers who are still left. I can name them as well. It's going to be Ryan. It's going to be you. It's going to be Owen. And maybe if you're not any of them 3 people and you've reached this point, pop your name in and then we'll give you a shout out at the start of the next video. So if you're not called Ryan, Owen, or Simon and you've heard me saying this, leave me a comment. But yeah, we're going to shoot off. Thanks, Simon, and we'll see you again next week.
Lovely. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Bye bye.